Welcome the gathering.
Good evening, everybody. On behalf of the Chartered Accountant Studies Circle, I have great pleasure in welcoming you all to this launch of this book on evolution of amendments to the provisions of income tax relating to trust and institutions, authored by Mr. Ramachandran. The Chartered Accountants Studies Circle is an institution which was started in 1979 for the purpose of sharing issues on professional interest amongst professionals. It started off as a small organization in 79, and over a period of time, it has grown to the extent of having our own newsletters from 1990. It's a monthly bulletin which keeps circulating to all the professional brethren. It has also further grown into conducting annual residential conferences throughout the length and breadth of the country. And on one occasion, it has even been held outside India, that is in Sri Lanka. The Chartered Accountant Studies Circle has always been at the forefront of encouraging young members in the form of speakers, many of them who are occupying or who have occupied very high posts now, have in the past made their debut as a speaker in the Chartered Accountant Studies Circle meetings. Not only that, the Chartered Accountant Studies Circle has also encouraged a lot of authors and has published a lot of books. Some of the books like the bank branch audit, the tax audit, guidelines on tax audit, corporate audit checklist, all these have been, and further Excel as an audit tool. These are all the books which have been published by the Chartered Accountant Studies Circle, which have been actually selling like hotcakes and most sought after books. Mr. Ramachandran approached us. We were only too happy to associate ourselves with Mr. Ramachandran in publishing this particular book, and we wish him all the best on behalf of Chartered Accountant Studies Circle. With these few words, I welcome you all once again to this evening's show, and I hope that you have an enjoyable evening. Thank you.
Thank you, C.A. Tulsidaran, for introduction that quite said it all. May I now kindly request C.A. Ramachandran sir to honor Sri Debendra Narayankar and with a shawl and a book. Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you to put your hands together.
Sri Debendra Narayankar was born in the year 1964 in Orissa. After completing his post-graduation in political science from Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, he completed his MPhil degree from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Thereafter, he obtained LLB degree from Delhi University. His professional career began as an officer in Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. Thereafter, he joined IRS in the year 1988. After probation, he got posted as an Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax in Visakhapatnam. Thereafter, he moved to Ahmedabad as Deputy Director of Income Tax Investigation. In the year 2001, he got promoted as Joint Commissioner of Income Tax and posted in New Delhi. In New Delhi, he held several important assignments. He also worked as a senior departmental representative in the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. In the year 2009, Sri D.N. Kerr was promoted as Commissioner of Income Tax and got posted as Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals in New Delhi. In the year 2012, he was transferred to Chennai, where he worked in the capacity of Commissioner of Income Tax Exemptions, Chennai, and the Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals, Chennai. In October 2017, he was promoted to the rank of Principal Commissioner of Income Tax and was posted in his home state, Orissa. In the year 2020, he has been promoted as Chief Commissioner of Income Tax and got posted in Chennai again. Sri D.N. Kerr has been invited as a speaker for many training programs and conferences organized within and outside the department. He is a recipient of several awards, including Distinguished Citizen Award from American Biographical Institute. He has also received Cash Award from Income Tax Department for conducting quality search and seizure operations and unearthing black money. He is associated with various social, cultural, and sports bodies.
May we kindly request Mr. Kar to address the gathering.
Dignitaries on the dais, the star of the evening, Mr. R. Ramachandran, CA, my colleagues, friends, and chartered accountants and tax professionals. They say Income Tax Act is a penal statute because it imposes tax liability. Sometimes it imposes penalty, and then there are prosecution provisions as well. But many of us probably do not know that a lot of charitable and social activities are also promoted through the provisions of the Income Tax Act. And those are the exemption provisions which grant tax exemptions both to the donors as well as to those institutions which intend to do social and charitable activities. So during our entire career, we get very limited time to handle this soft side, the soft power of the Income Tax Department. And I was lucky that I got such opportunity in the city of Chennai in the year 2012. When I came from Delhi, and I was little hesitant as to how things would turn out in Chennai, I was really pleasantly surprised that Chennai has, first of all, very, very learned tax professionals and chartered accountants, and the work in exemption directorate in Chennai was also very, very encouraging, and you get a sense of fulfillment. Whereas in other posts, you always feel that you are punishing somebody, or you are taxing somebody, you are penalizing, you are prosecuting. And in those times, Mr. R. Ramachandran was a regular visitor to our exemption directorates. He used to handle many prominent, religious as well as charitable entities of Tamil Nadu. And one of the very senior, the vice chancellors, his institution was also, in the exemption charge here. So I will, before I actually go into his book, I would like to, recite one incident which probably would open your eyes as to what we can do, in the exemptions directorate. Sometime in 2015, one emissary of our Kanchi Shankaracharya ji, he visited me, and he wanted some advice. And he asked me that, is there any way we can, go about, having this Kumbhavishekam of this Kamakshi temple. That was to be done, that was to be consecrated sometime in 2017. But he came in the year 2015 because the work was stupendous. It would have taken at least 2-3 years to have got completed. Then he asked me that, our problem is that, this this Kamakshi temple is under the control of HR&CE department. And there, the executive officer would control everything. First of all, we may not get funds sanction from the government, because any temple which is under the HRNC department's control, they have to have sanction from top, financial sanction to carry out any activities, including renovation activities. So he said we are very skeptical whether we'll get the full sanction or not. And second thing is that if we have to get it carried out through the offices, through the office of executive officer, it would be really difficult because he doesn't have the expertise, neither the technical nor the financial prowess or the skills to get a work of this mammoth proportion done within a space of 2 years. So he said we have to think of something else. So I told him that you just give me a day, I'll look into the provisions of the act and let me see what we can do. And he was also saying that he also requested that if there is any way we can get some tax exemptions to the donors, because it's a religious activity. Renovating a temple is a religious activity. So obviously ATZ benefit cannot be extended. So I asked for a day, then I went through the provisions of the act, and then there I found that there is one clause very remotely in ATZ which says that if there is an institution, a religious institution of importance throughout the state, any religious institution, whether it's a church or a temple or a mosque or whatever it is, if that religious institution is eminent throughout the state, and if it has been certified to be so by the board, CBDT, then for renovation of such a religious entity, an SPV can be created and ATZ benefit can be extended to it. So next, after a couple of days when he came, I told him that, this provision is there, we can take benefit of this provision. But I would like to know whether you are registered as an institution of, as a religious institution of eminence throughout the state of Tamil Nadu. Have you got that registration? Then he spoke to his colleague in Kanchipuram, and then they confirmed that yes, we have that. Some 20 years ago they had got it from the CBDT. So I said, then it's very simple, we can get it done. So then he said, what do we do? I said, you create a separate trust for this purpose, and we'll give you a limited period, some 3 years. For 3 years, we'll create this SPV only for this renovation, and we'll give you tax exemption. So he thought over it, and then he said, okay, we'll go ahead with this. But then, there is another problem. That, you all know that, we get 6 months time for granting 12A or 12AA or 12AB for registration purpose, the initial registration, and then another 6 months for granting ATZ. Those are the provisions in those days. So he said that, 1 year will go in this. I have just got 2 years time left. And if the department takes 1 year only to grant 12AA and then ATZ, 1 year is gone. So we are just left with 1 year. We cannot do it. It's a big task. We need more time. I said, no, the outer limit is 6 months from the date of application. The outer limit is 6 months for 12AB or 12A, and then another 6 months for ATZ. But that is the outer limit. The inner limit is not prescribed. That is in our hands. So if you make out a case that, you need it out of turn or fast, we'll do it. So in 12 days, we gave both 12AA and ATZ. So what would have taken normally 12 months, we granted it in 12 days. And then that was the end of it. I forgot. He went away. Then I got transferred from that place to another place. Then in 2017, I received a call from him. He said, I want to come and see you. I said, most welcome. So he came. I said, what brought you here? No, I've come with the invitation. Our Kumbhabhishekam is happening this October. I said, fine, most welcome. I mean, I'll definitely go. But then I asked him that what happened. He was very, very, skeptical whether, they can raise enough resources, because they were anticipating an expenditure of about 50 to 60 crores for the renovation of the temple. Then he asked me that, then he told me that, by God's grace, they didn't have to work very hard. What happened is, see, they would have had to go to so many donors for raising this 50 to 60 crores. But then, he said that, I don't know why, I just called up Mr. Sib Nadar. I called him Sib Nadar of HCL. And it appears his mother is a great devotee of Kamakshi temple. So he said, I was just talking to him in some connection, and then I told him that, can you contribute something for this cause? He said, what contribution? How much you need? No, he said, we want some support from you. No, you tell us how much you need. Then he said, no, we don't know actually how much it will cost, but we need some support from you. He said, don't worry. Now you leave it to me. So Mr. Sib Nadar, he sent his financial team, he sent his architects, he sent his engineering team, and they sat on the premises of the temple. They set up their temporary office, site office, and they executed the entire work. And the entire expenditure was borne by only one entity, that is SCL Group. And then, when I went to visit the temple, after this renovation, after the Kumbh, he also told me that please don't come on that day, because on that day the Prime Minister is coming. So it will be very, very crowded and will not be able to give you time, and there will be a lot of security issues. The entire, that's a small town, so it will be closed from all sides because of security reasons. You come within 45 or 48 days, he said, that after Kumbh Abhishekam, if you come within that period, it's as good as visiting on the first day. So I went during that window, of 45 or 48 days. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that, the entire place has been made up so well, renovated so well. And, what I was, surprised to see is that, the sanctum sanctorum, they have put now air conditioning system. Then I told him that, it's good that, SCL people have given you air conditioners, and but what about the maintenance cost? To running so many air conditioners throughout the year would cost you a lot. How will you manage it? He said, no, sir, they have taken care of that also. During the, near that temple, that pond, they have put this solar panels, which are running the air conditioning system. So everything has been taken care of. Then he told me that, not only HCL provided the entire funds for the renovation, they also made a separate corpus donation of another 15 crores, so that, enough interest amount is generated, and that amount is utilized for regular maintenance of this place, maintenance and cleanliness of this temple premise. So what I intend to tell you that, this exemptions directorate is one place where you can actually help, a lot of institutions and a lot of people. Now coming to our friend Mr. R. Ramachandran, he has also helped many institutions by getting them registered under the provisions of the Income Tax Act as a religious or charitable entity, and also getting them tax exemption. And he was in fact sharing with me that when he started his career, normally, when a chartered accountant begins his career, he moves towards corporates or, the international the taxpayers or the business taxpayers, because they pay more. But he, as a young chartered accountant, he devoted a lot of time to this religious and charitable entities who may not be paying much, but there is a innate satisfaction in helping these institutions to get the tax benefits and actually help the general public. Mr. Ramachandran, when he came to me with a request that, I should write the foreword for this booklet. So I told him that, I'll just write a small write-up. But then, during that time I was just doing this exercise. See, if you actually look at the provisions of the Income Tax Act, they're very organized, We have different heads of income at particular places. Then we have, how to, that the machinery provisions are also, at one place. But the provisions relating to exempt entities are, spread at different places. And there are only 14 sections which deal with the exempt institutions. They are in my fingertip, like you start with section 2 within bracket 15, then section 1023C, then section 11, 12, 12A, 12AA, 12AB, then section 13, then section, we also have this 115 BBC, 115 BBE, and then 115 TD, TE and TF. So there are only 14 sections which deal with these exempt institutions, but very, very complex. The usual, the way we deal with a normal taxpayer or a business taxpayer, the books are maintained differently. When it comes to a exempt institution, the books are maintained in a different fashion. There we have, income and, profit and loss account for business entities. Here we have income and expenditure account. So a lot of differences are there. So, even amongst the professionals, not many venture into this field. There are some, specialized professionals who deal with these provisions. But I'm so happy that Mr. Ramachandran has been devoting so much of time to these provisions, and he has, it's not that he doesn't have very big clients in the opposite side, in the corporate field or in the business sector. In fact, I do not want to name them because it's not good. He has also, quite prominent, clients who are operating in the business sector. So I really commend that, he has taken the pains to write a book for the benefit of the tax officers, tax professionals, and the students of CA to learn the provisions of the exempt entities by going through the process of evaluation. And that is the best way to learn the provisions of our Act, because unless you know how the law has evolved, you probably cannot appreciate why the amendments have been brought in. And all of you, those who are regularly practicing in this vertical, would know that last 4 to 5 years, there have been tremendous changes in the provisions relating to exempt institutions. So for a better and proper understanding, we need to go through his book so that we are adept at, interpreting the various provisions relating to exempt institutions. I'm sure this book would do very well and will enrich the knowledge of all the important stakeholders. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Debendrakar. And now we come to the most awaited event of the evening, which is the launch of the book itself. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly put your hands together for the evolution of amendments to provisions of Income Tax Act relating to trusts and institutions, authored by CA R. Ramachandran. And I must hasten to add that the most stressed person in this room is Ramachandran sir himself. He's been at it for the last 2 days. So, a special round of applause. And may we kindly request Mr. Marudu Pandian to receive the first copy. And applause is also in order to CASC, which has supported the launch of this book. May I request Ram sir to present the initial copies to CA Bhupati sir. CATN Manoharan sir. CA Shekhar sir. Dr. CA Kandasamy sir. And may I also request Ramachandran sir to present a copy to Asiriyar Mr. K. Veeramani. Thank you very much. May I kindly request Mr. Sundarajan, Chartered Accountant and a member of the CA Study Circle, to honor Mr. S. Marudu Pandian with a shawl and a book. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pandian's resume reads like a thriller. He completed his bachelor's in engineering from Anna University, Chennai in 1999. He joined the IRS in 2004, and his first posting was at Tirunelveli as an Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax. In 2008, he was posted as the Deputy Director of Income Tax and posted in the investigation wing at Madurai. In 2013, he was the Joint Commissioner of Income Tax, posted at Trivandrum, Kerala. He was then promoted as the Additional Commissioner of Income Tax in 2017, posted at the Central Range, Chennai, where he completed a vast number of assessments, which are speaking orders adhering to the principles of natural justice. Now is where the story actually gets even better. In 2019, he was promoted as the Additional Director of Income Tax and posted in the most prestigious and most feared income tax investigation wing at Chennai. During his tenure, a number of sensational mega IT raids were conducted, and each one of them were a blockbuster success. This cumbersome exercise for the department had been mounted with meticulous planning and precision and very precise execution, covering more than 50 premises, cutting across 4 to 5 states, thereby bringing laurels to the department. He then served as the Additional Commissioner of Income Tax in International Taxation and Transfer Pricing. In 2022, he was promoted as the Commissioner of Income Tax, and he's presently serving as the CIT exemption from 2023 onwards. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Marudu Pandian, for having joined us here today. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I kindly request Mr. Pandian to speak.
Respected Principal CCIT sir, other distinguished members on the dais, I should say on and off the dais, because I can see many familiar faces whom I have interacted, and the Vilavin Nayagan, the author, Mr. Ramachandran. Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant evening to all. It's always easy to speak after my esteemed boss because he cuts our work very short. He had comprehensively covered the provisions of how it has evolved. I'm going to be very crisp and short on what I go to say. At the outset, I also place my heartiest congratulations to Mr. Ramachandran for venturing out or should I say it's a daring task of writing a book on exemptions. Given a chance, I'll not do. I think many of us will not do. We as officers also, we find always difficult unless we are posted an exemption charge. We don't come across such provisions. So it shows his depth of knowledge and the confidence he has got in the provisions of exemptions. Honestly speaking, when I took over in September 23, I didn't understand the history behind it, because the book he has written is Evolution of Amendments to the Provisions of Income Tax Relating to Trusts and Institutions. Why we need to know the evolution, I do not know, because it has got a history behind it, the historical context on which each addition was made. The lawmakers felt that it is the need of the society that at every point of time that some addition has to be taken or should be withdrawn. I do not know what. But out and out, what he has done is a wonderful work. When I flip the first pages of this thing, he has given how the definition of charitable purpose has evolved. If you have read the Income Tax Act, charitable activity is defined in 215, and it is one of the most difficult definition. In the common parlance, we understand what is charity. Charity is relief to poor, medical, education, only that much. Only that much we know. But how in the world charity can also be preservation of environment, monument, preservation of monument, and the most important thing is the seventh limb of the definition, which is GPU, General Public Utility. And for 60 years since the inception of the Act, we had been fighting on that clause, GPU, General Public Utility. See, he has very aptly given a snapshot of how this definition has evolved. That is quite impressive when I see this. I'll just read just one page of it. Many of us, even frankly, I didn't know that this definition of 215 has found the place in the Income Tax Act of 1922 also. The corresponding section is 4.3 of Income Tax Act 1922. In 1961, the definition includes relief to poor, education, medical relief, advancement of any other object of general public utility, not involving the carrying of any activity of profit. See, NGOs are an extended arm of the government. They do many works which the government cannot do. So that is why they are called non-governmental organization, and they don't work on profit. Aptly so, because the definition says they are not carrying on the act of carrying on any activity of profit. That is why it's called non-profit organizations. But though the intent and purpose is not to earn profit, but still they have to do some business in order to sustain themselves. As long as the income or the profit derived is again deployed in the application of income, application of the activities of the charity, then it is no problem. So that is where the problem is coming. There are different interpretations to that. So 1983, they removed the word not involving carrying of any activity of profit. So if you are doing any profit, then it's not charity. Then 2008, it says, shall not be charitable purpose if it involves the carrying on of an activity in the nature of trade, commerce or business. Again, it is coming in, you cannot do a trade, commerce or business. Not only that, rendering a service to any trade, commerce or business for a cess, fee or any other consideration, that is also not covered. I'm just listing out what he has listed as a historical perspective, because still we are fighting on this one single point of GPU. 2009, first time, preservation of environment is also a charitable activity. Act had been amended. The same year, preservation of monuments. Where in the world preservation of monument is a charitable activity? The lawmakers in their own wisdom, they have made it, and it has become an act, and we are implementing it. And then they brought in 2009 incidental business activity. I am a trust, and if I do an incidental business activity towards the objects of the trust, then it is called as this thing, but the total receipt from such activity does not exceed rupees 10 lakhs per annum. So they are bringing in a ceiling 10 lakhs. 2011, 10 lakhs is increased to 25 lakhs. 2015, GPU should not exceed 20% of the gross receipts. 2015, again, yoga is included. So in one single snapshot, he has brought out the entire history of how it has evolved. So there are many things he has written. Not only that, the latest case laws where the landmark judgment of ADA, Ahmedabad, where the scope of GPU had been clearly defined, and the new Nobel Society, where the definition solely education had also been fully threadbarely discussed, had been again for the benefit of us, our good friend has brought in the book. So there are many other things I like to go on. Then I was told that there are many other speakers after me also. I like to also listen to Mr. Kandaswamy, who had been another authentic voice on the subject. We had more healthy this thing on this. So with these words, I wish Mr. Ramachandran my heartiest congratulations on bringing out this masterpiece. I also wish him good luck, that he should write more books on this difficult subject, which may be in ease offing. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And I think in a land where we have about 239,000 NGOs listed on the Darpan portal, and with a lot of interplay of various laws and the social stock exchange, etc., coming up, I'm sure it's going to be of great use. Could I please request Mr. Ramesh Babu, committee member, the Chartered Accountant Study Circle, to honor Mr. A. Shekhar, CA A. Shekhar, sir. Could I please request you to put your hands together for CA A. Shekhar?
CA A. Shekhar graduated from Annamalai University in 1971. He has been a practicing chartered accountant since 1976 and been a partner in BB Naidu & Co. from 1980 to 2022. He is presently practicing under the name A. Shekhar and Associates, formerly member Board of Studies Madras, Annamalai and Madurai Universities. CA A. Shekhar has been a visiting faculty in Madras University and formerly a member Review, Tamil Nadu Textbook Society. Also been a member committee on Consumer Cooperative Societies, Tamil Nadu. He has delivered memorial lectures in Annamalai University under BB Naidu and Co. He's a member Direct Taxes Committee, All India Federation of Tax Practitioners, and a member Chamber of Tax Consultants, International Fiscal Association, Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, and Society of Auditors. C.A. Shekhar is also the Honorary Treasurer, Young Men's Indian Association. He's trained and produced over 100 chartered accountants in the last 48 years, many of whom are successfully practicing at Chennai and other parts of the country. He has participated and won All India First Prize in Mahatma Gandhi Centenary Celebration competitions and attended the Republic Day Parade at New Delhi as a state guest in 1969. He is actively connected with social service organizations engaged in charity and educational activities. Please may I call upon C.A. Shekhar to say a few words.
Good Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute honor to be here this evening to celebrate the release, not for the launching of the book, for the release, celebrating the release of the evolution of amendments to provisions of Income Tax Act, the latest masterpiece by Mr. Ramachandran. We are gathered here just not to mark the launch of the book, but to celebrate his dedication, his passion, the creativity that have brought this book into this world. The organizers, I should thank first. They've been very magnanimous in letting me also to speak here, and also receive the copy of the book from Mr. Ramachandran. My sincere thanks to the Chartered Accountant Study Circle. I feel humbled by the presence of the Principal Chief Commissioner, Commissioner of Income Tax, past presidents, and all the here. I just wanted to start with this. I'm not a big fan of cricket, but I happened to see some of the matches in the latest T20 series. And I noticed that whenever the toss is called, apart from the captains of the two teams, and also besides a few stalwarts of the game, a young boy also used to stand along with them. And similar as the scene when the national anthem was sung of both the teams which are playing. Standing here, I don't know why I am reminded of this. The organizers may pardon me, this is purely in a lighter vein. Now coming to the subject, it is said that books are just not words on a page. They are windows into the author's soul, invitation to explore new ideas, invitation to explore new tools that change your perceptions. And this book is no exception. From what I have seen and heard, and also read, this book promises to be a transformative experience, a deep dive into charitable trust, formation, functioning, tax compliance, various rules and regulations governing each and every aspect of all this. As the previous speaker said, people have a general understanding of the impact of sectors like manufacturing, trading, and all that, because they create jobs, they create income, they create goods and services to buy. It is often instantaneously believed that charitable organizations and their volunteer activities are unimportant and of little significance or little consequence to a country's economic development. But nothing could be farther from truth than this. In reality, charitable activities make a vital contribution to the society, to the economic, social, and political sectors of a nation. In fact, the role of charitable organization is no less than the role of the private or public sectors. How the charitable trust function, what are the various sections governing them, you can't get better speakers than the Principal Commissioner and the Commissioner who is exactly handling taxation of charitable trusts. But I'd like to briefly touch upon a few things. Charitable trusts are typically value-based organizations which depend wholly or in part on charitable donations and voluntary service. Although many of the large and resourceful charitable trusts today have become increasingly professionalized over the years, but the principles of altruism and voluntarism still remain the key defining characteristics. Now, the Indian Income Tax Act, being a fiscal law, not only governs the formation of the trust, but also defines what is a charitable purpose in Section 215, about which the learned Commissioner dwelt at great length about what are the various changes made from time to time. Unlike many other words and phrases which are defined in that, in an inclusive manner, the term charitable trust is an exhaustive definition. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's all. Nothing more, nothing less. It says education, medical relief, relief of the poor, environment, yoga, preservation of monuments, and as he rightly said, the object of general public utility, and nothing more, nothing less. This particular definition itself, as he has rightly pointed out, has undergone changes and amendments made at least 7 times in a span of a few years, tampering with the meaning of the word, sometimes expanding the scope, sometimes narrowing the scope, and sometimes totally changing the meaning of the term. The year 2022 particularly was a very difficult year for the charitable organizations. First, it was the bouncers in the form of amendments made by the finance bill 2022, which the charitable organizations had to deal with. And then the googly in the form of the apex court decision in the case of AUDA, Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority, which put the charitable organizations on the back foot. The apex court clubbed the different entities on the basis of their legal status and later pronounced judgment category-wise. The issue before the apex court was the interpretation of the amendment to section 215, wherein the applicability of the phrase general public utility was restricted. Starting from the decision of Lok Shikshana Trust delivered in 1975, so many judicial pronouncements were dealt with in this said judgment. Let me not go into any further details on the law relating to charitable trusts. All that I would like to emphasize is the fact that the lawmakers always wanted to ensure that a trust or an institution does not deviate from its objects. And if they had stopped with that, it would have been simple and straightforward. But they didn't do so. Now it appears that there should not be any lapse on the compliance requirement under any other law also, not necessarily the Income Tax Act. Under any other law, if there is a violation, then I lose my exemption. That is where the standard books containing the various provisions applicable to charitable trusts at different points of time will be handy and useful for practitioners. Mr. Ramachandran has done a remarkably good job in not only arranging the provisions section-wise, but also made one chapter highlighting the legal issues looming large and various judicial pronouncements recently delivered, touching upon the recent controversies, and also added one chapter on answers to questions which are frequently asked. His efforts are commendable, and I am sure that this book will find its place, bright place, in the chambers of chartered accountants and advocates practicing taxation. I am particularly proud of Ramachandran because my long association with him for over 4 decades, and I am happy to see the author in him. Publishing a book is not a small feat. It takes courage, it takes persistence, it takes a relentless pursuit for excellence. Ramachandran has shown all these qualities and more in this publication. As we celebrate the launch of this book, let us remember the importance of supporting the authors and the writers community also. The books they produce are our companions, our teachers, our sources of endless inspiration. I once again congratulate Ramachandran on this remarkable achievement and wish him all the best.
Thank you very, very much, Shekhar sir. And in these days of Google and ChatGPT, which is Google on steroids, the smell of a book is still very, very nice. So, thank you very much. And may I now request CA Balaji, committee member, the CASC, to honor CA R. Bhupati sir. Ladies and gentlemen, for someone who needs no introduction, but I have a task to do. An exemplary chartered accountant, an eminent tax practitioner, C.A. Bhupati sir has also served as the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He was one of the founder members of the CA Study Circle, which is today supported this book launch. He was a member of the Education Committee of IFAC, the apex body of CAs across the world, professional accountants across the world. He's also served on the board, on the Central Board Advisory Committee of the CBDT. He's been a board member of the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, the Accounting Standards Board of SEBI, and much more. He was also a director on the Accounting Research Foundation of ICAI. While all his accomplishments are indeed absolutely laudable and noteworthy, what he is most known for, remembered, loved, and respected for is for having been a phenomenal and a dedicated teacher who's inspired, if I'm not wrong, my 10,000 CAs easily. Thank you very much, and over to you, sir.
the committee members of the Chartered Accountants Study Circle, the chief guest of this evening, Mr. Devendra Narayankar, the guest of honor, Mr. S. Marudumbandian, CA T.N. Manoharan, CA Shekhar, CA Kandaswamy, and a galaxy of senior officers of the Income Tax Department, my dear Chartered Accountants. Coming at the fourth speaker on the launch of a book, we have to make amendments in our speech, as many amendments as were made in the charitable trust provisions. We came with a certain framework of mind, but after listening to all the speakers, we have to make some small changes here and there. Therefore, at this point of time, I would like to structure my presentation in three parts. I am very happy because Ramachandran has done a wonderful job, about which I'll come a little later. First, I'm very happy. Second, I'm very thankful because he requested me to write the foreword. I am one of the greatest beneficiary of the book, immediate greatest beneficiary of the book, because I happened to go through that book in detail for writing the foreword. And I should congratulate him for the good work which he has done. Now, coming to this topic, charitable trust. And one more thing why I should be very happy and delighted here is the organization which is sponsoring this event, the Chartered Accountant Study Circle. I'm very happy, very proud, very delighted, so very satisfied person today to see an organization which we formed in the year 1979 blossom into such a great organization and bring such type of luminaries to one place under the authorship of Ramachandran. Something very, very happy and very delighted. Having said this, Ramachandran is somebody whom I know from his student days. During his students' days, possibly I have not interacted him with this much, but after that, the number of instances he used to come and tell, sir, you said this, you said that, you said this, which I remember today, which I practice today also, really makes me happy. Why I'm so, I want to congratulate Ramachandran is because if you watch some of these musical concerts, if somebody is going to take a very difficult song to sing, they will say, I am very happy about your courage to take this particular song to sing, because it's a very complex song. So I should congratulate him for his courage to take this topic, as Mr. Mal. It requires a lot of courage. He said 14 sections, but 14 is a misnomer because the 14 sections are equivalent to 200 sections. The type of complications which has come. And he narrated the definition of charitable trust, charitable purpose. But I would like to tell you, each segment of the charitable trust provisions are subject to certain controversies. One is the definition of charitable purpose. Second, in the registration process, he himself said 12, 12A, 12AA, 12AB, and so many subsections have come. And because in each stage, they tried to correct it, in the process, they encountered certain difficulties, they corrected it, and its system goes on like that. Now, the definition of what constitutes income for a charitable trust and the application of income, next stage, how much you have to apply, whether you applied it for charitable purpose or not, there are a number of controversies on that. And then whatever surplus funds, you have to make some investments. Where to make some investments? And if you make it in investments other than those investments notified under section 13.5, the entire amount will be charged to tax. It throws up a big consequence. And then related party transactions. If you give a benefit to a specified person, the exemption is withdrawn. And finally, if you close down the trust, how to transfer the trust. At every stage of the trust, application of income of the trust, there are complications, there are decisions, there are controversies, and two Individuals, ordinary persons cannot think alike. Two chartered accountants never think alike. And two chartered accountants on one side and two people on the department side, how it will be, you could imagine. So what I am trying to say, it's a very complex subject. That's why I should congratulate him. And the Commissioner of Income Tax Exemptions raised one small point. He did mention, what is the purpose of evolution of these provisions? Sir, as practicing chartered accountants and taxing practitioners, when we file a return for the current year, we must know the provisions of the current law and advise our client accordingly, correctly, and do its job. We will close that file and it will go for appeal before the tribunal or before any authority. It will be relating to the assessment year 85-86. Now we are in 24, if old year. So we must know the law as on that date. If you take the Income Tax Act, somewhere number they put in amended that way. Now this book will be a useful reference for those type of people who appear before various authorities, because you look at where this amendment has been made. That is the purpose of evolution. He has very nicely done it, and I should compliment Ramachandran for that, because it's a useful reference material. That's the point which I wanted to explain in detail. Two things I will say and conclude with it. The point which I wanted to mention is 2024 has been a very good year for the entire country, particularly for Chennai. First, the Chennai Super Kings won the IPL. Second, India won the World Cup. Third, we have got some medals in Olympics. Fourth, Ramachandran writes the book. So this wonderful year of 2024, and how it should end, I will tell you. Because the finance minister, while introducing the finance bill 2024, has said that there is a process of simplification of tax laws within 6 months' time. But every time we have tried to simplify it, it has become more complex. That's a different side. I'm not talking about it. And I am trying to tell you the simplification process. With the government has very comfortable in two streams, new stream of taxation, old stream of taxation, and slowly we are pushed to the new stream of taxation. Good enough, very good for the country, less complex. Similarly, in the charitable trust, they are such sunset clause for the 1023C from 1st October, and level only will continue. So in the simplified tax laws, which is going to come, one chapter on chapter 6A will get deleted, and the entire 1023C will get deleted. Curiously, I noted down, chapter 6A is 168 pages in the Income Tax Act. If chapter 6A is withdrawn, 168 pages are going to be withdrawn. And 1023, one section is 20 pages. Just imagine how simplified. So what I would like to end is, within this year end or next month, next year, by June 2025, there should be a supplement edition to this book. Supplement edition to this book, after incorporating the Finance Act provisions, how simplified it, and if this book is condensed further, it will be the happiest moment for all of us, and we'll enjoy it together. Thank you very much, and good luck, and all the best. Good luck.
Thank you very much, sir. And I think it's this very subtle and inimitable sense of humor that kept us awake at 6:30 a.m. during your classes and made many of us CAs. Thank you very much, sir. Could I please request CA Uthamchand Jain, convener, the Chartered Accountant Study Circle, to please honor Dr. CA M. Kandaswamy. Could you please put your hands together for... Dr. Kandasamy graduated from the Loyola College in Chennai in 1978, was summa cum laude, and graduated with a whole lot of academic medals. He qualified as a CA in the year 1982, the founder partner of Kandasamy Associates, and his firm specializes right from the beginning on audit, advisory, compliance, and governance matters, largely in the NPO space. He's an advisor to several national and international reputed educational institutions, health institutions, and other NPOs. He is a pioneer in the country on mainstreaming audit and compliance matters for NPOs. Very true, a lot of us in Chennai know him as the Trust Kandasamy sir. As an author, his books on FCRA, FM for NPOs, governance of NPOs, financial management capacity building, GST for NPOs are all the first in the country on the above topics. He's also very recently authored a book on GST for NPOs, which he co-authored with his daughter Preeti Kandasamy. He's also written the guide for the audit of NPOs of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, a research on numerous topics concerning NPOs and their finance, audit, compliance, and governance matters. He facilitates a network of experts for continuous learning in the above fields who are both in India as well as in Asian and African countries. So, ladies and gentlemen, kindly put your hands together for CA Dr. Kandasamy. And he's also a member of several consultative bodies of the United Nations.
Honorable Principal Chief Commissioner, beloved Kar sir, and Honorable Commissioner Marit Bandian sir, Tulasidaran, CA, and my beloved younger brother Ram, I would like to call him fondly Ram, and such wonderful leaders of our profession and also department and also various other bodies. To all of you, a very pleasant evening. Bhupati sir has said, coming as a fourth speaker, how he had to make amendments. I would humbly say, I will just make one amendment, not to speak anything about the provisions of the Income Tax Act. Because you have heard such a lot, and also you have such a wonderful book written by my beloved younger brother Ram. But I would like to say, this is not just a book release. This is a Sangamam. Sangamam, I don't have to give the meaning. It is the coming together of various rivers. I have to go one step further to say, this is not coming together of various rivers, this is coming together of various oceans. The Bay of Bengal, the Arabian Sea, the meeting in the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic and the whatever, the Pacific. Such is the Sangamam that is happening here. And that is because of the single event, purpose, the book release, the evolution of amendments to the provisions of the income tax relating to trust and institutions by my beloved brother, C.A. Ram. I say this Sangamam because this book has importance to the millions of people. You may wonder how. It is important for millions of people because India, our great country, is with islands of prosperity and ocean of poverty. This book touches not those who have to pay the tax or plan the tax. This book touches those who do not know what is income tax, who do not know what is section, subsection, explanation, proviso, circular. They do not know cases. Actually, they are themselves pathetic cases. They are poor children, they are the disabled, and they are the marginalized. சமூகத்தின் விளிம்பில் இருக்கிறார்கள் என்று சொன்னால் அவர்களை தொடும் புத்தகம்தான் இந்த புத்தகம். The people who have come here, they have come here because they want to touch the lives of those people. And Ramachandran, I happen to know him for the last 3 decades. When I was with taxes night and day, with individuals of net worth individuals and corporates, ministers, why even the chief minister, central minister. Suddenly one day I went into the NPOs and people started calling me, something totally has gone wrong with you. And it needed a lot of courage for me to withstand. And I have people in front of me. If I name them, it will take time. I'm going to do one or two only. They gave strength. They gave courage. They gave tremendous enthusiasm. And one such is also Ramachandran. When you feel lonely and when you see somebody walking along with you, equally enthusiastic, equally passionate, then you feel totally enthusiastic. I would like to thank you, Ram, for this walking along, the accompaniment in the last 3 decades. And I am not at all surprised that you have come up with this publication. I am so proud and I have no proper words to express how delighted I am that you are having this book before this assembly, the great assembly and the honorable people. 1 or 2 words about 1 or 2 people, because please don't mistake, I am going to praise these people. Neither they need praise nor I have to do it. But for gratitude and to express courtesy, if you take cursor, 2012, you just heard he took over the charge and he went on up to 2015. And that's the time many things happened in the exemption wing. One of the things that happened is the whole states came under the charge of a commissioner. Many amendments took place. I promised I won't go to any amendments, so therefore I'm not going to the which amendment, but many amendments came across at that time. And Sir had stream of visitors. If you have gone to exemptions that time, you won't be able to enter the 3rd floor. And he will give time for every single person. And he will be explaining to that person, what is this section, what is this form. That man will be listening, and sometimes he won't understand anything. And if he happened to say no, sometimes he would have known that if people like me or Ramachandran were there, they come and sit inside. When you go and sit inside, you have to be very alert. You know why? Suddenly he will ask me, please come and explain to this person, this section, this form. Tamil solli kudunga. You know, these things look like kind of description of some events, but the kind of knowledge, the kind of, commitment with which he, explained this to the people and made sure they get the exemption. You only got, he shared about one example, but I can go on sharing several examples where he had gone out of the way to explain to them and also grant them the exemption. And his work is known through his outreach programs. Not only receiving visitors and explaining to them, through his multiple outreach programs. And some of the officers he used to inspire them and encourage them, speak in the outreach programs. Though they will have little hesitation, he used to encourage them. Today they are all excellent resource persons, sir. Thanks to you, those days that you encourage them. They are excellent resource persons in the department on this topic. His work is known not only in income tax exemption or income tax department or the Ministry of Finance, but also in the Home Ministry, Ministry of Home Affairs, also in the Ministry of External Affairs of the GOI, also in the Senate of the United States of America. His work is known all over this place because of some of his outstanding contributions in this area. You heard that he had received so many awards. The other day, somebody was speaking in one of the income tax sessions, income tax seminars, that he should be honored with the highest civilian award of the country for this working in this area. Sir, this is continued by such other your colleagues in a very, very interesting way. When Mr. Mardhupandian sir took over, he never issued notices to all the trusts. He invited the trustees and took enormous trouble and time, and in a very calm and quiet manner, he explained to them the vulnerability of the institutions and non-profits at this part of time. And he didn't stop there. I was a few thousand miles away in Canada, but I overheard the ripples with the CCIT, sitting with the CCIT, explaining again to the trustees the importance of these provisions. And exemption ஆஃபீஸுக்கு போயிருந்தீங்கன்னா சென்னையில் அவர் மருதுபாண்டியன் சார் வர்றதுக்கு முன்னால் போவோம், இடமே இருக்காது. முன்னால் கொஞ்சம் எங்கா ஒரு சேர் இருக்குது, அங்கே ஓரத்தில் இருக்குது, வெராண்டாவில். இப்போ போனீங்கன்னா, if you go now, one of the best offices in the income tax department. And you know what explanation he said? This is a place where respectable people come here. Vice chancellors come here, chancellors come here, trustees of major bodies or educationalists come here, health experts are coming here. I should at least offer a decent place. So now the feeling is, sir, even if exemptions are rejected, applications are rejected, people go comfortably, sit and come back happily. This is not this is a reality. I'm not exaggerating. This is a reality. And people in this position, with their great character of honesty, they had a lot of credibility to the NPO sector. Confidence in the minds of the trustees who are approaching them, asking for exemptions, seeking recognitions and renewals. Now, if I talk about others, it will take too much time, but one or two things. Bhupati sir, you all listen to him. The way he encouraged the non-profit sector in the Institute of Chartered Accountants, when he was the president, I was attending a course, the DISA course, and there are some hundreds of students, and he just calls me out, and he says, go to Bangalore, attend a Wipro, ICAI, NPO seminar. I tried to tell him, no, I will lose the attendance here, that I will take care. You go and attend there. Sir, out of that seminar came the guidance note for the NPOs in the country by the ICAI today. And if you take TNM, I fondly call him, I went and submitted this audit of the trust. For nearly half a day, the council listened and they said, we will come back. I came back. After about 1.5 years, he brings the published audit of charities, the manual with his own writing, brings to my office. What a gesture on the part of these people who occupied the highest positions in the Institute of Chartered Accountants and in many other institutions, many other bodies and the organizations. I don't think any leadership in the ICAI, I am proud to say this, ever discouraged this topic. I can go on. You will say Murali here, one of the earliest associations, and here RK there, and here you have Srividya, so many. Sir, I'm proud to say that the Institute of Chartered Accountants have promoted this area so much. Today, this book is here by Mr. Ramachandran. What is the importance of this book? The book that is released, our minds, and also an umbrella. When they are not open, no use. But when they are open, it is so useful. So useful. Book is released and it's open. Minds are open by these wonderful people. Those who are on the dais and those who are sitting here, many of you, you have helped to open the minds and I would say even the hearts of the people. Today, this book is like an umbrella. if you have seen the Wayanad scene in the last 10 days, and if you recollect the floods in Chennai, December 23 floods, or the 2015 floods, when people are drowning in their own houses, when a good Samaritan goes and, saves, what a great gesture. Such is the time this book is released. I would like to humbly say, this book is never can be in a better time. This is the best time, and because of the good work of the leaders and good work of our honorable commissioners, one more I have to mention. Is Mrs. A. Selvaraj sir somewhere there? I met him. Sir, the first thing that you did was the outreach program. One day when I met him, he said, what is this 100% and 85%? Is it a big thing? No, sir. It is not such a big thing. I would like to know what is in this 85% people do, that is application. And then he started discussing with his chief commissioner at that time and in the boardroom of the income tax, and then started the outreach program in 2000. And that continued continuously, consistently by every commissioner, including Kar sir, and sir has continued that also. Mardhupandian sir is continuing that also. I humbly use this opportunity to request you to continue that, sir, because that gives many people such a great relief in seeking the right exemption by using the right provisions. And finally, Ram, I have two requests. One is, the income tax provisions are only one part for the NPOs. They are today surrounded by so many other provisions, FCRA, GST. I can go on and on. So my humble request is, in your next edition, perhaps you can consider covering also the latest provisions of the FCRA and also that of the GST. Because Bhupati sir has said it will reduce some, because it is sunset is happening for 1023C. So that reduction part, if you add a little GST and also FCRA, it will greatly benefit the non-profit organizations. And my second request, Tamil, the secret translate panna, it will be very useful. Something that I have never succeeded. I'll be very proud that if my younger brother succeeds in translating this, not only in Tamil, in other vernacular languages, if possible in Malayalam, if possible in Kannada, because there are small NPOs. You know one thing, we don't know how many NPOs. Nobody in this country has an idea how many NPOs. We know how many 12As are there, 80Gs are there, that too after the amendment, but otherwise no one knows. There are thousands who don't know, who don't have 12A, who don't have 80G, who don't know what it is all about. So for them, a simple, the same book in the vernacular language will be of great benefit. With these two requests, I once again heartily congratulate, and he is part of my family. He is not just an author here, and therefore I am requesting my wife, who is there, I think, with the bouquet, to kindly bring it. My daughter from Halifax, and also my entire family, join in greeting you, congratulating you with a small bouquet. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, sir. And yeah, with all the new AI coming in, maybe he'll get his translation first draft tomorrow morning. All in. Manoharan, sir. C.A. Sundarajan, sir, is also a very eminent chartered accountant and also a member of the CA Study Circle. C.A. T.N. Manoharan, sir, was a past president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and was awarded the Padma Shri in 2010. He presently serves as the non-executive chairman on the board of IDBI Bank and as an independent director on the board of Tech Mahindra. He was also a board member of the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority and has been a member of several committees constituted by the Reserve Bank of India, the SEBI, MCA, C&AG, and CVDT. Manoharan sir has also been honored with a Business Leadership Award from NDTV Profit and CNN IBN, and he was also the Indian of the Year awardee in 2009. And it's over to you, sir.
Distinguished chief guest for this program, Principal Chief Commissioner, Sri Debendra Narayan Kar. Guest of honor, Commissioner of Income Tax Exemptions, Sri S. Marudupandian. Tulsidharan, convener of the CA Study Circle, and the hero for the evening, my good friend R. Ramachandran, author of the book. மற்றும் ஆசிரியர் உள்ளிட்ட அந்த அவையை வணங்கி நான் மகிழ்கிறேன். இனிய மாலை வணக்கங்கள். This evening is memorable because, as was mentioned by earlier speakers, authoring a book itself is a task, and authoring it on taxation provisions is again a uphill task, and that too with reference to exemptions, it's much more challenging. In fact, when Vijay Kelkar committee was constituted to go around the country to get feedback on how the Income Tax Act could be simplified, modified, they came back with a lot of recommendations, and I had the privilege of interacting with them in close quarters. And one thing that emanated out of their findings was that the country itself is so diverse. Like in terms of, we know country is diverse based on the tradition, culture, dance, food, so on and so forth. But even from taxation angle, they said, when we went to Gujarat, Ahmedabad, the focus was on HUF and trusts. And when we went to Calcutta, the focus was on carry forward of losses. And when you go to Delhi, they were more concerned about deductions and exemptions. And in Bangalore, they were concerned about software exports. Chennai was more concerned with interpretation of taxes. That's what brilliant brains do. And when they went to Mumbai, they said, we don't mind paying any taxes, but don't ask any questions. That was their attitude. So diverse attitude, but what has brought them together is that there are certain provisions like this in the Income Tax Act which promote noble activities, as was rightly mentioned by the chief guest. But whenever there is an exemption or a deduction, there is a scope for abuse of those provisions as well. And that's why, the law gets amended from time to time to plug the loopholes. But every time that is done, again, it gives rise to certain litigation as well. In fact, when permanent account number was first introduced, the CBDT requested me to travel along with one of the CBDT members across the region to create awareness and to clarify some of the common mistakes the applicants were doing those days. So we addressed one such forum, and one of the lady taxpayers stood up and asked the CBDT member, sir, every other form I fill up. Being a married woman, I fill up the name of my husband. Only in permanent account number application 49A, I fill up the name of my father. Why is that? Of course, CBDT member did not know the logic as to why it was done, but he had the presence of mind to say, Madam, permanent account number deals with permanent things. Normally, the name of father doesn't change. So we would like to pin it down like that. And when it comes to interpretation, I still remember there was a rule 3 for valuation of perquisites for taxpayers, salaried income earners. One simple rule said, tea or snacks served during working hours is exempt. Then when we deliberated it, immediately there was a doubt from one of the study group members, whether tea, it is written as tea, what if coffee is provided? Will it be exempt? I'm only giving you an example as to why this book is so relevant to take the taxpayers and professionals in the right direction, giving clarity, because clarity is what is required. Then another person said, of course, I gave the reply, the person who drafted the rule normally drinks tea, so he has used the word tea. But it doesn't mean coffee will not be exempt, that should also be exempt. And another person raised a question, tea or snacks is mentioned. What if both are served? I said here, or should be understood as and. That is interpretation. But you will not believe in 6 months' time, there was a circular which clarified for the purpose of Rule 3, tea includes coffee, soft drinks. They did not say etc. because they know how the brains on the other side work. So they said for this purpose, tea includes coffee, soft drinks, and any other non-alcoholic drink. That's how they clarified it, made it conclusive and comprehensive. So there are any number of such, interpretation scopes, divergent opinions, and to venture into authoring on this topic relating to exemptions, and with such amount of clarity. In fact, I expected that the book will be 300, 400 pages, but Ramachandran has been able to, with big readable font size also, he is able to condense it with 189 pages, which is a commendable job. In fact, Tirukkural, because of the depth of the meaning it carries, and the intensity of the meaning it conveys, 1330, kurals. That's why இடைக்காடர் அதை எப்படி டிஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணாருன்னா, கடுகை துளைத்து 7 கடலை புகுத்தி சிறுகத்தரித்த குரல் அப்படின்னாரு. அவையார் ஒரு படி மேலே போய் அணுவை துளைத்து 7 கடலை புகுத்தி சிறுகத்தரித்த குரல் அப்படின்னு அதை டிஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணாங்க. பிகாஸ் அணு கடுகை விட இன்னும் சின்னது, அதுலேயே 7 கடலை புகுத்தி இருக்காருன்ற மாதிரி. That's what I would like to describe this book as. What commentaries would carry in hundreds of pages, he has been able to simplify it and condense it and put it. I don't think, it is practically possible, but because of the rich experience, in fact, bringing out a book and making it so simple indicates only one thing very clearly, that is the mastery over the subject and his in-depth experience. That is what has been translated into this simplified version of the book, and I'm sure all the readers will be benefited. And to this venture of Ramachandran, I don't think he alone can take credit. I should also place on record my appreciation to Velvi, his wife, who must have supported, withstanding the hard work he must have been putting, sitting late night hours, and both his daughters, Yarini and Tendril, one of whom is comparing this program so eloquently. So the entire family needs to be complimented and applauded. Well done, Ramachandran. Great work, and I wish you many more laurels. This is just the beginning. God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Manoharan sir. Apparently, 81% of literates want to write a book at some point in time in their lives. 3% actually end up writing it, but only 0.6% get to publishing it. So congratulations, Ramachandran sir, on actually becoming part of that 0.6 in this universe. So it's over to you, and before that we'll have an introduction of Ramachandran sir by
C.R. Ramachandran graduated from Loyola College, Madras University in the year 1982. He underwent articleship with B.B. Naidu and Co. from the year 1983 to 1986, where he learned nuances of audit from the illustrious late B.B. Naidu, a born teacher, late B. Surender, and Mr. A. Shekhar. He qualified in the year 1987 and had set up practice in the year 1987 along with his friends who studied together in B.B. Naidu and Co. Established a branch in the year 2017 at Tirupur. He addressed national and international conferences, addressed the members of SIRC at various branches. He was an active lion during the year 1995 to 2007, held posts of President and District Chairperson in the cabinet of 324A1, now holding the position of Honorable Secretary of the Young Men Indian Association, founded by Annie Besant, and presently he is the Audit Committee Chairman of a cooperative bank. Actively involved in many non-profit organizations as trustee, committee member, etc. I call upon my father to say a few words.
Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Mr. D. N. Kerr, Commissioner of Income Tax, Mr. S. Marthapandian, Mr. Bhupati, Mr. Manoharan, Mr. Shekhar, and Mr. Kandasamy, Chancellor of Periyar University, Asirya Mr. K. V. Ramani, Mr. Balakrishnan, former Election Commissioner and former advisor to State of Orissa Government, Mr. Palamalai IAS, Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Mr. Rajiv Hota, and Mr. Selvaraj, Chief Commissioner, and other Income Tax Commissioner, Mr. Rajan, Mr. Dandapani, Mr. Palni Kumar, Additional Commissioner, Mr. Murugesan, Mr. Sendil Kumar, Dr. V. R. Sampath, Dr. V. M. Arumugam, V. Murali, and SAS Vice Chairperson Revati, and my dear friends, good evening to all of you. My thanks to Chartered Accountant Study Circle, especially Sundar, Uttam, Tulasi, and others for having readily agreed to publish this book. My thanks to PCCIT, Mr. D. N. Kerr, for having consented to release the book and also penned a foreword for this book. He has not only just like given a foreword, but also gave me a lot of inputs for improvement of these contents. Wherever minor corrections are required, he has suggested which are accordingly incorporated. I am thankful to him for the same. After Mr. Selvaraj as Commissioner of Income Tax exemption, Mr. Kerr has made an impact in the exemption circle. I have been interacting with him since 2012 when he was CET exemption. Our relationship further enhanced when he came to know that Sri S. Rajaratnam and myself worked together for many NPOs. My thanks to CIT exemption, Mr. Marthapandian. To be very honest, I have very limited interaction thanks to NFAC, National Faceless Assessment. We don't meet regularly. But when I went and approached him, he immediately agreed to participate in the function and receive the first copy along with other guests. What impression Mr. Kerr has left in the exemption circle, now he is continuing in the exemption circle. Mr. Shekhar, who is my teacher, first teacher, and continues to be so since 1980 to 83. As many of us from BBNet and Company, I too learned a lot from him, the nuances of audit, appeal procedure, income tax and company law matters. Thank you, sir, for having come here today. In the formative years of our profession, he, along with Mr. Surender, provided a platform for us to settle down. Thanks to Bhupati, sir, who is a teacher for many chartered accountants, including Mr. Manoharan and Mr. Kandasamy. I know him the day I joined as a student in the year 1983. Later on, after qualifying as a chartered accountant, our acquaintance was not much. During the year 1994, he visited our office along with Mr. Manoharan when he contested the election to Central Council. And he gave me the honor of proposing his name to his candidature for Central Council. I am much obliged, sir, for having written a foreword for this book. Personally, I am thankful to Mr. Bhupati for having given a reference letter to Mr. Kandasamy for admission of my daughter in the year 1995 in kindergarten. One more coincidence, both of us share the same day as birthday. Of course, he is 11 years elder to me. Mr. Manoharan is the person who made me visible amongst many chartered accountants fraternity. I am thankful to him for having agreed to come and spare so much of time despite his busy travel schedule. He has been traveling almost every other day. I knew him since 1991. He introduced me to Lionism, which enabled us to move as family friends. I learned time management from him. Those who are associated with him very closely will vouch that he is a perfect planner and executor. I have broadly learned the aspect of planning from him. He was very active in Lionism till 1997-98. Then he decided to contest the election in 2000. Then he became the president in 2006. Then what he intended to do next 2 years, he has been planning in such a small scribbling pad he had. He showed me once when both of us were traveling together in Delhi. In the airport, next 2.5 hours, in fact, he can go in business class. But since I am coming, he said, I will also come with you, Ramachandran, in the ordinary economy class. He showed me next 2 years what I am going to intend doing as a Freemasonry and the vice president. Such a very good planner and such a meticulous planner. Even though he started his career as income tax teacher, now he is known for his management expert also. Both Mr. Bhupati and Mr. Manoharan have personal rapport with every chartered accountant member and students especially. Natpukku Ilakanamanavar. He is responsible for many of my professional attainments. Manoharan, he also gave me the honor of proposing his name to the candidature for Central Council. Incidentally, both Mr. Bhupati and Mr. Manoharan became president of the institute. Mr. Kandasamy, the person who kindled interest in the subject non-profit sector for me. I knew him since 1995 when I approached him for my daughter's admission. You'll be surprised to know that Chancellor of Periyar Manima University, Mr. K. Veeramani, gave me a book written by Mr. Kandasamy in the year 1994. அப்போ அந்த புக்கை படிச்சுட்டு அதெல்லாம் நம்ம இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷனில் இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணணும்னு முதல்ல சொல்லியிருக்காரு. ஐயாவே ஞாபகம் வச்சுருப்பாரு என்னன்னு தெரியாது, எனக்கு சொல்கிறேன். Since 1996, both Mr. Kandasamy and myself started traveling together for many reviews and financial management assessment of many NGOs. He is a man of 200% energy and expect 200% efficiency. A focused person, I have learned a lot from him and continues to learn. He is also responsible for many of my professional attainment. As in the case of Mr. Manoharan, Mr. Kandasamy and my family are moving as friends for the last 3 decades. I am thankful to Mr. S. Rajaratnam, who was my fatherly figure in the profession. I am thankful to 2 other chartered accountants who gave me a lot of inputs. One is Mr. G.R. Hari. He suggested to have the book published after the union budget so that and all the recent amendments also can be brought in. When I was discussing Mr. Yoganand, he suggested, sir, எவ்வளோ டைம் இருக்கோ எடுத்துக்கோங்க, நல்லா இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ணலாம், அது வரைக்கும் பண்ணிவிட்டு வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னாரு. Yes, Mr. Yoganand, I could do so by incorporating the latest amendments, latest judicial pronouncement, what is been delivered in the month of July. My thanks to Saravanan for having designed the wrapper and layout in the book in an appreciable manner. I am thankful to Sundar Ganesan and Vishwesh for having helped me in finalizing the venue and organizing this event. Thanks to Jayaraman of YMA also in this regard. I am thankful to my student, Jivanandam, who worked with me typing, taking printout, and making correction. I am also thankful to my other students, Prem and Arshini. In this connection, I request Mr. Bhupati to honor my student. I am thankful to C.A. Sri Priya for having coordinated the program in an exemplary manner, supported by Yayini. I request the Chancellor Periyar Manima University to honor Sri Priya. Book. I request C.A. T. Manoharan to present a book to Yayini. Book only good. I am thankful to C.A. Sri Priya, who volunteered to do this coordination despite being a Central Council member. My special thanks to Anna Centennial Library staff, media, and others for having supported this event. I am thankful to my partners also for providing backup support since 1982-83. Thanks to my family for having been a source of strength throughout my career. Finally, our thanks to each and every one of you having come in large numbers. Thank you once again. இங்கு பாராட்டி பேசிய அனைவருக்கும் நன்றி. அந்த வார்த்தைகளுக்கு நான் தகுதியானவனா என்று தெரியவில்லை. அந்த தகுதியை வளர்த்துக் கொள்வேன் என்று உறுதி கூறி விடைபெறுகிறேன்.